Today's video, we're going to be looking at the new DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series Harley's Holiday statue. Harley's Holiday stands approximately 13 inches in height and was sculpted by Irene Matar. What's particularly cool about this particular statue is that it's based on the intro title card that was used in the Batman animated episode Harley's Holiday, which was episode 6 and aired on October 15th, 1994. In fact, for some comparisons, here's the statue on the right, and on the left is the original title card used for the episode Harley's Holiday. You can really see an exact carbon copy from the original source material to what DC Collectibles ended up producing here with the statue. When you get the statue out of box, there is a little bit of assembly that's required. Primarily, you have to get Harley Quinn onto the base itself. You, of course, put her hat on probably near the end of that. And you'll want to attach the leashes to the hyenas on either side of her. I suppose the trickiest aspect of getting the statue put together is taking the leashes and wrapping them around Harley Quinn's leg, close enough to how it looks on the box and how it looks in the opening title card, and then connecting the leashes on either side. There's clips supplied to the collars on the hyenas here. And just showing you how the cables are attached. We'll detach one of them. You have to be very careful because the actual loops on the hyenas are still the same material for the rest of the statue. And then you're simply just going to take the little supplied hook here and you're going to want to attach it to that little looplet. Again, it's not the easiest at times, but once you get it all attached there, like I said, the hardest part was just simply trying to get it looped around Harley Quinn's legs. Harley Quinn already has the black leash attached to her hand when you get her out of the packaging. You just simply are plugging her into the base here, and then you're wrapping the leash around her leg and attaching it to the other side. The red leash, on the other hand, comes loose in box, so it's a matter of just attaching it to the other hyena's collar and then wrapping it around her leg. Now, I did notice, though, and I just want to also mention, too, that this is an elasticized cord, so there is wiggle room for how you can stretch it, wrap it around her leg, and attach it to her other hand. The box actually shows, if I can indicate here, the black leash is a little further up. The red leash wraps around her leg, then wraps around her thigh, and then eventually finds its way to her hand. Now, I can't seem to get enough clearance, just shy of pulling it, but I don't want to pull it to the extent where I'm pulling too much and it's going to break potentially the looplet that's attached to the collar on the hyena. So ultimately what I did do was I just attached it. I just looped it one time around. Let me show you here. One time around. And then I attached it to her hand. Now her hand, I'm going to show you here, the leash just cups, kind of just sits over top of her four fingers. This black leash here attaches more so to her thumb, so it's not going anywhere. This leash here is a little bit more trickier because it's literally just resting on top of her four fingers. You'll see what I mean right here. Like I said, the loop of the leash is going to be wrapping around her four fingers. It just barely covers over those four fingers, so making the leash excessively tight, I would imagine, being a little bit more difficult than to get that leash loop around her four fingers to be holding it. And then once you get that all done, the last little steps are just adding her hat, which is a separate piece. It does feel like there's a magnet in there, and it's simply just a case of putting it on top of her head. But you know what? Why don't we look at her head first, and then we'll go ahead and put the hat on top of that. Love the face sculpt on Harley Quinn here, which has her glasses a little further down on the bridge of her nose and a very giant smile and big bright eyes as she goes on a shopping spree along with her hyenas. I do like the fact that the statue's head is completely sculpted. So really, you can choose to either display her with or without the hat, depending on your preference. Because the hat appears to be magnetic as well, there's a couple of different ways you can have the hat displayed on her. You can simply just sit it kind of further up on her head, or, which you can also do too, you can play around with it a little bit more. Now, pulling it away, it does feel like there's a little bit of suction there, leading me to believe that it is a magnetized hat. The magnet on the hat allows you to display the hat in different ways, some a little crazier than others, but again, you can kind of have the hat further down if you so wish, or you can have the hat further up, and the magnet's going to keep it in place. The display base has some nice decos on the front here, making up of the Harley Quinn diamonds, and of course offsetting colors of red and black spiraling around the total parameter of this circular base here. Very, very carefully I'm lifting the statue up while holding Harley Quinn. It is out of a 5,000 piece limited release. This happens to be an artist proof, but out of 5,000 copies will be what is the availability on this particular statue. DC Collectibles have also included 4 felt feet to prevent any scratching on any surface that you may have the statue displayed on. Might also say I'm really loving the pose that they've got Harley Quinn in. Now, a lot of this, again, is taking from the original title card source material, so really they've just taken it from the animation copy and planted it here in a 3D representation. And I think it really does well, considering you're really in the beginning of the episode only seeing this front part. DC Collectibles filled in all the blanks and added the additional depth to the suitcases and the larger chest behind her. As much care been put into the chest as they have put in Harley Quinn here, where you can see these like little individual shipping labels and shipping tags on it. You've got the little gold brackets here on the corners of the cases, and then you got the suitcases there as well. Looks like there might be a hat container up at the top, a hat carrying case up the top, but mostly smaller suitcases, and then you've got the larger chest in the back. Of course, one can't overlook also the 2 hyenas, one on either side of her, which have very similar looking designs to them. They have the one arched leg off the ground with the other 3 planted firmly down, and they also have their tongues sticking out. It kind of makes me think that they've been along with her the entire day that she's gone shopping, and they are completely out of breath. I love the tongues sticking out, and also I really like the fact that all of this statue seems to only have its primary color, and let me explain what I mean by that. The hyenas, for example, are only a lighter shade of almost caramel brown. Same with Harley Quinn's reds, the blacks, and even the skin tone. They really haven't added additional shading to it. And more, the more I look at this statue, the more I enjoy it for those reasons. Because of that additional shading being slightly overlooked, it's bettered this statue because it looks more so like something from the cartoon and not simply going for a more realistic approach here. I absolutely love this statue, but really the only thing I would say is a nitpick to it is it's a little tricky to get the leashes wrapped around her legs. I know I could probably wrap the leash around a second go around and make the leash a little tighter on the red to match that of the black. But I do feel like pulling it an extra loop around her leg is adding additional strain to the loop in which the hook is latching itself onto. I may entertain the idea of trying to loop it around a second time, but again, I'm a little cautious doing so because I just don't want that to accidentally break on me. I think some of the things that made Batman the Animated Series feel so grand to viewers was the orchestra music that they used, the low-lit environments that Batman dwelled in, and of course, the beginning of it was the opening title cards, which gave the viewers a sneak peek as to some of the things that they could expect for the episode that would follow. The idea that DC Collectibles would take cues from those opening title cards and produce a 3D statue of it is very cool indeed, and I really like how Harley's holiday turned out. The only thing I would say is I would have changed a little bit differently to it is maybe the leashes that she's holding, as again, I'm still a little apprehensive about wrapping the red one any bit tighter than what I currently have, just for fear that something could potentially happen to the loop on the hyena's collar. Still a really great outing from the folks over at DC Collectibles. Would love to see them approach, and hopefully this opens the door for for future Batman Animated Series title cards in statue form. Let me know down below in the comments section, guys, of the Batman title cards that you've seen from the episodes that ran the full series. What are some of the title cards you would like to see produced in statue form here? In the meantime, Batman's Animated Series Harley's Holiday statue is currently available now in comic book stores. If you're anxious to pick this one up for yourself, you should be able to find it there. If you can't find a comic book store in your area, it's as simple as going to www.comicshoplocator.com, put in all your information, and bingo bango, you'll find a comic book shop in your area. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. If you haven't had a chance yet to also subscribe to this channel, make sure you hit that little button down below that says subscribe. If you also would like to check out some more DC Collectibles statue reviews, I've got a playlist on this channel that you can watch at your viewing pleasure as well. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you next time.